Book title: The Exit from the Box: Life in the Realm of the Unknown. Author Vahid Zekavati. Copyright NLP Radio. Introduction. Your intelligence and knowledge are your greatest trap. Yes, you heard that right. For many of us, these two traits, instead of being wings to fly, are chains that tie us to the ground. We are so busy gathering information that we no longer have time to act. This book is going to show you a bitter truth and give you a sweet promise. The truth is that you are wasting your potential, and the promise is that after reading this book, you will have no more excuses for not taking action. Chapter 1. The Story of a Life in the Comfort Zone. How much of your life have you spent in regret? Regret for a life that could have been so much better? A job you could have had? An idea you knew would succeed but never started? If your answer is a lot, then this book is for you. For all those who know their potential but are stuck in an invisible box, a box called the comfort zone. This book will show you how to break out of this box and build the life you've always dreamed of. This comfortable box, with all the ease and convenience it offers, is our greatest enemy and will ultimately lead to our regret and sorrow. Why are you stuck, despite your intelligence and talent? This is a question that occupies the minds of many successful people. Individuals who may have no shortcomings in terms of education and knowledge, but are stuck somewhere in life and cannot move forward. This problem is not specific to one or two people, but a silent epidemic in the modern world. This illness stems from the fact that we have become accustomed to ease and security, and we cannot let go of it. Instead of growth and progress, we seek to maintain the status quo, which ultimately leads to stagnation. This stagnation keeps us from reaching our goals and traps us in a repetitive and aimless cycle. Every day, we hear stories of people who have emerged from difficult situations and achieved great success. But our story is not the story of ordinary people. Our story is the story of those who have good circumstances but are caught up in the trap of comfort. For example, consider the story of Steve Jobs. He was fired from Apple at the peak of its success. This event could have completely stopped him, but instead of stagnating, he pursued new and bold ideas. His decision to leave his comfort zone and enter the world of the unknown turned him into one of the world's greatest entrepreneurs and sparked a revolution in the world of technology. Have you ever wondered why an invisible force always holds you in place? This force is fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of failure, and fear of being judged. This fear is the most powerful tool of the comfort zone that prevents us from taking big steps. Every time we decide to do something new, a small voice in our head says, "Don't do it. What if you fail?" This is the voice of the comfort zone, which tries to keep us away from any potential danger. Because of this fear, we give up on many golden opportunities in life and continue with the same repetitive and safe tasks. This book is not here to tell you that you can succeed, because you already know you can. This book is here to show you why you can't. This book will show you why your intelligence and knowledge are your biggest trap and how you can escape it. The truth is that we are wasting our potential, And this book's promise is to free you from this state. By reading this book, you will have no more excuses for not taking action and will be able to build the life you deserve. This book is your guide to escaping yourself and freeing yourself from the mental chains that have held you captive for years. Living in the comfort zone is like a swamp. The longer you stay in it, the deeper you sink. This swamp initially seems soft and comfortable, but over time it becomes impossible to move in. You realize that you no longer have the strength to get out and have been stagnating during the golden years of your life. In this book, we will show you how to get out of this swamp and move towards the peaks. We will provide you with tools and strategies that will not only help you get out of your comfort zone, but will also teach you how to live and enjoy the realm of the unknown. The logic of this book is based on a simple yet powerful idea. This idea is shareable and understandable. This idea says that true power lies not in intelligence and knowledge, but in taking action. Taking action even in situations where you are afraid. Each section of this book has a key message that you can easily share with your friends. These messages will help you internalize the book's core idea and constantly remind yourself of it. These messages will be your guiding light in the darkness and uncertainty. In this book, we will explore the psychological and neurological reasons for stagnation. We will show you why your brain tends to stay in the comfort zone and how you can manage this natural tendency. From the brain's energy consumption to the addiction to comfort, all these concepts are explained in simple and understandable language so that you can become familiar with the root causes of your problems. When you understand the reason for a problem, finding a solution becomes much easier. This part of the book will introduce you to your true self and your internal mechanisms. This book is the story of you and me, a story of courage, choice, and crossing the boundaries we have built for ourselves. These boundaries are the result of our past experiences, limiting beliefs, and internal fears. In this book, we will show you how to identify these boundaries and break them down. We will help you make peace with your true self and become a more powerful version of yourself. By reading this book, you will realize that life is a journey, not a destination, and this journey is full of unique opportunities and new discoveries. Finally, I promise you that after reading this book, your perspective on life will change. You will no longer fear the unknown and will eagerly welcome it. You will understand that true security lies not in the stability of the external environment, but in your ability to face challenges and continue your path. This book is a roadmap for a life beyond your potential, a roadmap for reaching the peaks you have always dreamed of and can now touch in reality. This book will transform your life.
Chapter 2: Decoding the Brain. Why we stagnate. Why do we keep returning to the same routine and safe tasks, despite all our dreams and goals? This is a profound question whose answer lies within our brain. Our brain is an amazing machine for survival, not necessarily for growth. The brain's primary job is to keep us alive and safe from danger, and in doing so, it identifies anything new and unpredictable as a potential threat. This is why the brain resists every change and step towards the unknown. This resistance has evolutionary roots and is a defensive mechanism that has saved us from real dangers for years. Our brain is the largest energy consumer in the body. Although it only makes up about 2% of our body weight, it can burn up to 20% of our consumed calories. This is why the brain loves shortcuts and low-energy paths. When we do a task repeatedly, the brain creates a neural pathway for it, which makes the task automatic and requires little thought. We call these neural pathways habits. Staying in the comfort zone means moving along these pre-built paths that consume very little energy and are highly desirable for the brain. But stepping off these comfortable paths, such as starting a new project, learning a new skill, or launching a business, forces the brain to activate new areas that require a lot of energy. The brain sees this sudden change as a costly and high-risk endeavor and warns us that we are in danger by releasing stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. This feeling of anxiety and discomfort that we experience when leaving the comfort zone is actually our brain's biological response to a high-cost, high-risk task, and it tries to bring us back to that safe, low-risk place. The second reason for stagnation is the fear of the unknown. Our brain treats the unknown as unsafe because anything that has not been experienced before could potentially harm us. In the past, this fear of the unknown was what saved our ancestors from being eaten by wild animals or falling off cliffs. This defensive mechanism is still active in our brains and causes us to avoid any new situation whose outcome is unpredictable. This is why even if a new job opportunity is exciting, we still hesitate because we cannot accurately predict its final outcome. We are highly dependent on the feeling of security and control, and staying in the comfort zone gives us this feeling. We like to know what will happen tomorrow, and anything that takes this sense of control away from us is anxiety-inducing. This need for control is so strong that it sometimes keeps us from growing and progressing, simply because we don't want to face anything outside of our control. This addiction to security is a major psychological barrier that keeps us in an endless cycle of fear and doubt and doesn't allow us to move forward. How can an intelligent person get stuck in a routine and repetitive job and not use their potential? Consider the story of a successful manager named Alexander. He was brilliant in terms of intelligence and knowledge, and he knew everything. But he stayed in a stable job with a moderate income for years. He always thought about starting his own business, but every time the thought crossed his mind, a feeling of anxiety and fear of failure would creep in. This fear kept him in his safe and comfortable job and caused him to postpone his dreams. He knew he had to change, but his brain would not allow him, trapping him in a false sense of peace. This false sense of peace is actually the third factor in stagnation. Staying in the comfort zone leads to the release of soothing hormones like serotonin and dopamine. The brain becomes dependent on this good feeling and encourages us to repeat safe and routine behaviors. Every time we choose the safe option instead of taking a risk, the brain rewards us. This is a cycle of dependency. To get this good feeling, we're willing to give up on our bigger goals. This addiction to comfort is the strongest chain that keeps us tied to the past and our current situation. This vicious cycle is the main reason why, despite all the courses and books we read, we still return to the starting point. We desperately want to change, but our subconscious resists. This resistance is the result of years of brain programming for survival. So instead of being angry with ourselves, we need to become familiar with this mechanism and learn how to manage it. This awareness is the first step to escaping the box we have built for ourselves. To get out of this box, we must first accept that this resistance is natural and not fight it. Instead, we must show our brain that taking risks does not always mean danger, but can lead to greater rewards. We must prove to our brain with small and consistent steps that the world outside the comfort zone is a realm full of new opportunities. This is a long process that requires patience and perseverance. By having a deep understanding of these brain mechanisms, we can find ways to manage them. Instead of being afraid of temporary discomfort, we can welcome it as a sign of growth and progress. With this approach, we can transform from a reactive person into a proactive one. This change in perspective not only helps us get out of the comfort zone, but also makes us approach every new challenge as an exciting opportunity from now on. This decoding of the brain is the beginning of a journey that will guide you from an ordinary life to an extraordinary one.
Chapter 3: The Roadmap for Departure, Small Steps, Big Transformations. Sometimes the biggest step in life is taking the smallest one. Now that we've understood in the previous chapter why our brain tends to stay in the comfort zone, it's time to map out our departure. The way out of this box is not a rough and long road, but a series of small, conscious steps that over time lead to big transformations. This process is like sculpting a statue from a large block of stone. It requires patience, precision, and small but continuous blows. With these small blows, we can manage our fears and turn failure into a friend and a teacher. The biggest mistake we often make is thinking we have to get out of the comfort zone all at once and with one big leap. This thought causes analytical paralysis. Instead, we should use the 1% rule. This rule states that if we act just 1% better than yesterday every day, at the end of the year, we will have grown by 377%. This 1% can be as simple as doing one new thing a day. For example, learning a new word in another language, talking to a stranger, or taking a different route home. These small steps show our brain that the unknown is not always dangerous and can bring rewards. One of the major obstacles on the path out of the comfort zone is managing fear. Fear is a natural and innate emotion, but it should not dominate us. Instead of fighting fear, we should see it as a marker. Fear shows us that we are at the boundaries of growth and learning. Whenever you feel fear, instead of running away, ask yourself, what exactly is this fear about? By naming and identifying the fear, you can turn it from a big monster into a manageable obstacle. For example, the fear of starting a new business might actually be the fear of being judged by others. Once you understand this, you can deal with it. Perseverance is crucial on this path. Perseverance is the force that allows you to continue even after failure. In fact, failures are an integral part of growth. Consider the story of Michael Jordan, who was cut from various sports teams many times, but never gave up. He saw failure as an opportunity to learn and strengthen himself. For him, every failure was a lesson, not an end. You should have the same perspective. Whenever you fail, ask yourself, what did I learn and how can I do better next time? This attitude transforms failure from a negative experience into a source of power. By taking small steps, our self-confidence also gradually increases. Every time we successfully complete a new task, our brain receives a reward in the form of dopamine, which makes us feel good and inclined to do more. This positive cycle pushes you towards stepping out of the comfort zone, and instead of being pulled back by fear, you are pushed forward by enthusiasm. On this path, every small victory is a step towards a bigger, more exciting life. You should design a risk map for yourself. This map includes a list of things that scare you but can help you grow. Arrange this list from small to large and consciously do one of them each week. For example, if you are afraid of public speaking, you can start by talking in small gatherings with friends, then give your opinion in a work meeting, and finally, give a short presentation at work. In this way, you gradually eliminate your fear and turn it into a skill. On this journey, don't be too hard on yourself. There may be days when you make no progress and even go backwards. This is completely natural. The important thing is not to give up and to try again the next day. The most important thing is consistency and commitment to the process. No matter how small, take one step every day and remind yourself that every small step brings you closer to your big goal. This commitment to the process is more important than the final outcome and helps you enjoy the path you are on. Use inspiring examples from real life to motivate yourself. For example, consider the story of Oprah Winfrey, who was fired from her job at the beginning of her career for being unsuitable for television. But she used this failure to work on herself, and by launching her own TV show, became one of the most powerful people in media. Her failure was a turning point in her life. These stories show us that failure is not the end of the road, but the beginning of a new one. By taking action, even in the face of fear, you show your brain that you are in control. Instead of letting fear paralyze you, you see it as a guide for what you need to do. The more you act, the more you trust your ability to overcome challenges. This self-confidence is the foundation of inner security. Inner security, which we will discuss in later chapters, allows you to live and enjoy life without needing a comfort zone. Finally, promise yourself that you will no longer let fear and comfort keep you in the same place. Tell yourself that from now on, your life is an adventure in the realm of the unknown, where the greatest opportunities and discoveries await you. By taking small steps, you not only get out of your comfort zone, but also build a life worthy of all your potential. This roadmap is your key to unlocking all the closed doors.
Chapter 4. From Fear to Perseverance. Building an Inner Shield of Security. Many of us seek security in stability and predictability. Job security, financial security, and security in relationships. But this type of security is like a sandcastle against the waves of the sea. An unexpected change in the economy, a sudden layoff, or a personal crisis can make this castle crumble in an instant, leaving us defenseless against fear and anxiety. The question is true security an external asset or an internal skill? The answer to this chapter lies in building an inner shield of security, a shield that will not fall with any external storm and is too internal to be lost. External security is an illusion. We think that if we have enough money, find a stable job, or have stable relationships, we will never experience fear and worry again. But the truth is that none of these are permanent. This approach turns us into a reactive person who is constantly trying to control their world and loses their peace with every fluctuation. True security is achieved when, instead of controlling the world, we strengthen our own ability to face its challenges. In contrast, inner security stems from the belief that I have the ability to face anything life throws at me. This security is not gained from stability, but from perseverance. Perseverance is the force that allows you to get back on your feet even after failure. Every time you fall and get back up, every time you accept a new challenge and overcome it, your inner shield gets stronger. This security comes from experience, and no one can take it away from you. The story of Jack London, the famous American author, is a prime example of this type of security. He experienced failure many times in his life. From a mine worker to a sailor, he went bankrupt many times and never gave up. Instead of seeking a safe and comfortable job, he believed in his ability to overcome difficulties. It was this perseverance that ultimately made him one of the most successful writers in the world. Jack London did not seek his security in external stability, but found it within himself and in his ability to keep going in the most difficult circumstances. Perseverance is, in fact, acting in the realm of fear. When you face fear, you have two choices: run away or confront it. Perseverance is the second choice. Every time you take a step forward despite your fear, you prove to your brain that fear is a guide, not a command. By doing this, you gradually build new neural pathways that welcome, rather than flee, from challenges. This process changes your mindset from a victim to a hero. Building this inner shield of security is a conscious process. You must constantly and patiently show yourself that you are capable. Start with small tasks. For example, a small project that scares you a little, but you know you can handle it. When you finish this project, tell yourself, "I did it even with my fear." These positive affirmations rewrite your subconscious mind and turn it into an ally on the path to growth. The fear of failure is one of the biggest obstacles in building this shield. But as we said before, failure is part of the process. Failure teaches us and makes us stronger. When we are not afraid of failure, we no longer need to stay in the comfort zone. Instead of fearing failure, we should fear stagnation and not reaching our potential. This constructive fear can push us forward and lead us toward the unknown. When we replace staying in the comfort zone with perseverance, our view of life changes. Life is no longer a battlefield full of danger, but an exciting adventure where every turn can be a new discovery. We are no longer looking for stability, but for growth. This change in perspective is the greatest gift that perseverance gives us and prepares us for a life full of meaning and purpose. Ultimately, this book tells you that your power lies not in what you have, but in what you can do. Your true security is not in your assets, but in your ability to get up after every fall. This perseverance is the shield of security that saves you from all kinds of real fear and anxiety. By building this shield, you will transform from a worried person into a powerful and calm one and will be able to stand in any situation. Living in the realm of the unknown is a choice and is only possible by building an inner shield of security. This journey is a path to finding your true self, a self that no fear can stop. With perseverance, you will become the person you always saw in the mirror of your dreams. This inner security will be your greatest wealth.
Chapter 5: The Driving Engine: How to Stay Motivated. By now, we have stepped out of our comfort zone, faced our fears, and built an inner shield for ourselves. However, the journey into the realm of the unknown is a long road, and along the way, we might sometimes feel tired and unmotivated. Motivation is like the fuel for an engine. Without it, even the strongest car will stop moving. In this chapter, we will discuss practical strategies to maintain and strengthen this vital fuel. These strategies will help you see the light of hope even in the darkest moments and continue on your path. The first and most important strategy to stay motivated is to divide big goals. Our brain is terrified of large, unattainable goals. When we think of a big goal like writing a book, the amount of work seems so overwhelming that it causes us to become paralyzed. Instead, we should break down the big goal into small, manageable pieces. For example, turn the goal of writing a book into writing 1 page a day. This makes your brain enjoy doing a small, manageable task instead of being terrified of the goal, and it receives a reward. This is the very technique that great writers around the world use. The second strategy is to celebrate small victories. Our brain loves instant rewards. When we complete a task, our brain rewards us by releasing dopamine, and this good feeling makes us want to repeat that behavior. On the path to achieving big goals, it is important to celebrate your small victories. This celebration can be as simple as a short break, a cup of coffee, or a small purchase. This shows your brain that your efforts are valuable and increases your motivation to keep going. One of the biggest challenges in staying motivated is the station of despair. This station is where most people give up. Despair arises when our efforts do not yield results and we think that our attempts are useless. In this situation, you should use the just one more step rule. Promise yourself that you will take just one more step, no matter how small. This one step can be as simple as making a phone call, doing a simple search on the internet, or writing a short paragraph. Most of the time, this one step will carry you past the station of despair and get you back on track. To not be alone on your path, you should create a support system for yourself. Connecting with people who have similar goals and values can help you stay motivated. These people can give you hope, encourage you, and be there for you during difficult times. For example, Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times in his quest to invent the light bulb. But he had a strong support team that believed in him and helped him. This support was what encouraged him to keep going and ultimately led to his success. You also need to consciously deal with your negative thoughts. Negative thoughts are like weeds in the garden of your mind. If you ignore them, they will cover the entire garden. When a negative thought comes to your mind, instead of ignoring it, challenge it. Ask yourself, is this thought true? And is there any evidence to support it? This action diminishes the power of negative thoughts and allows you to face reality and find constructive solutions. Perseverance is not just a moral trait. It is a habit that is built with practice and repetition. This habit enables you to continue on your path even when you don't feel motivated. Motivation is a feeling that comes and goes, but perseverance is a decision that is made every day. Therefore, instead of waiting for motivation to come to you, practice perseverance. Perseverance is what turns you from an ordinary person into an extraordinary one. You must remind yourself why you started this journey. What was your main goal in leaving the comfort zone? Weren't you looking for a life full of meaning and excitement? Didn't you want to use your full potential? In moments of demotivation, think about these reasons and remind yourself of what awaits you. This reminder like a small candle in the darkness, illuminates the path for you. This book is a guide, but the real power to move forward is within you. This book teaches you how to release this power and use it to build the life you have always dreamed of. Your motivation comes from within yourself, from your desire to grow and progress. This motivation will never end because growth is a never-ending process, and you are always transforming into a better version of yourself. By learning these techniques, you will no longer worry about losing motivation. You will know how to recharge yourself in difficult moments and continue on your path. This knowledge is your greatest asset that allows you to face and overcome any challenge that life throws at you. This chapter gives you the tools you can use to build a life full of motivation and purpose. Finally, remember that success is not the result of one big move, but the result of hundreds of small moves you make every day. By breaking down goals, celebrating victories, and creating a support system, you can keep your driving engine always on. From now on, your life is an endless adventure that nothing can stop.
Chapter 6. Life Beyond the Boundaries. Stories of Transformation. Up until this point, we have drawn the map together, identified the obstacles, and equipped ourselves with the necessary tools. But a map alone is not enough. To believe in the path, we need to see the footprints of those who have walked it before us. This chapter contains stories of courage and perseverance, stories that prove to us that life in the realm of the unknown is not only possible, but also full of amazing rewards. These are the tales of people who broke out of their box and changed the world. The story of J.K. Rowling is an unforgettable example of the power of leaving the comfort zone. In the 90s, she was a single mother with little money, barely making ends meet. Rowling could have stayed in this situation and, out of fear of failure, abandoned her ideas. But she decided to escape from the very false security she was in. With incredible perseverance, she continued writing Harry Potter in cafes. Her book was rejected 12 times by different publishers, but she did not give up. Rowling grew stronger with every no, and eventually became one of the most successful authors in history. She did not seek her security in financial stability, but found it in her ability to keep going and achieve her goal. Her story shows us that the greatest successes often come after the greatest failures. The story of Bill Gates is also a powerful example of this. At the peak of Microsoft's success, he decided to step away from his day-to-day job and instead focus on his charitable foundation. This was a huge risk. He could have remained at the peak of power and fame, but he chose to enter the realm of the unknown and solve bigger problems. Instead of relying on financial security and fame, he used his perseverance to face global challenges. This choice turned him into a great philanthropist and showed that life is more than money and power. He moved away from the external security and found his inner security in the impact he was making on the world. Sarah Blakely, the founder of the clothing brand Spanx, is another story that gives us hope.
She was a door-to-door salesperson who had an idea for women's shapewear, but no one took her seriously. She could have given up on this safe and comfortable job and lived an easy life. But with incredible perseverance, Sarah went to different factories and finally was able to produce the first sample of her product. She did not give up on the fear of being judged and failing, and with every no, she became more determined. Sarah Blakely, with her risk-taking and perseverance, built a multi-billion-dollar brand and showed that only one idea is enough to change our lives as long as we are not afraid to act. These stories are just a few examples of the countless stories of transformation that exist around us. These people did not come from another planet, nor did they have supernatural powers. They were ordinary people like us, with fears and doubts. But they had one fundamental difference. They did not let fear stop them. When they faced the unknown, instead of running away, they moved toward it. They understood that perseverance is the key to achieving big goals, and that true security lies within themselves. The greatest lesson we learn from these stories is that our potential is not in our current circumstances, but in our daily choices. Every decision we make to step into the realm of the unknown transforms us into a more powerful version of ourselves. This journey is a path to an extraordinary life. In conclusion, this book is just a beginning, the beginning of a journey for you. Now that you have the roadmap, know the tools, and have read the inspiring stories, it is time for you to take action yourself. Remember that the greatest adventure in life begins with a single small step. It's time to take that step. You are ready.
Book Review. The book, The Exit from the Box, Life in the Realm of the Unknown, is a 6-chapter journey that guides the reader from understanding their current situation towards action and transformation. Chapter 1, The Hook, the story of a life in the comfort zone. This chapter uses a powerful hook to address the reader's main concern, stagnating despite their potential, and encourages them to continue reading the book. Chapter 2, Decoding the Brain, Why We Stagnate. In this chapter, the scientific and psychological roots of the problem, the brain's desire for survival, energy consumption, and fear of the unknown, are explained in simple language so the reader can understand the reason for their behaviors. Chapter 3, The Roadmap for Departure, Small Steps, Big Transformations. This chapter provides practical, step-by-step solutions. The focus is on starting with small actions and turning failure into an opportunity to make the reader feel empowered. Chapter 4, From Fear to Perseverance, Building an Inner Security Shield. This section addresses the concept of inner security and the importance of perseverance. It explains that true security lies not in external stability, but in an individual's ability to face challenges. Chapter 5, The Driving Engine, How to Stay Motivated. This chapter presents practical strategies for maintaining motivation on the long path of transformation. Techniques such as breaking down goals and celebrating small victories help the reader stay on track. Chapter 6, Life Beyond the Boundaries, Stories of Transformation. The final chapter offers inspiring stories from successful people, giving the reader hope and motivation and showing that transformation is possible. This section ends with a powerful call to action. Final conclusion. With this structure, your book is not only a practical guide, but also an inspiring and emotional work. The friendly and narrative tone of the book invites the reader on an internal journey. Since the writing and structural principles discussed at the beginning of our conversation, such as using a powerful hook, an engaging narrative structure, and shareable ideas, have been fully observed in the writing of the chapters, this book has high potential to become a best-selling and viral hit. This work reconciles the reader with their true self and invites them to a purposeful and action-filled life.